guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. You want to know something crazy before I jump into this? I just spoke for this whole time and I didn't even record it. So that's a fun one for you. That's the fun about being a podcaster, y'all. You gotta remember to hit the record button. Alright, but in all seriousness here, I hadn't covered this case when he was initially arrested back in February. It was covered throughout YouTube, all over, and I just felt like, well, you know, it's covered, and I wanted to, you know, I figured let me just wait and see what happens. He pled guilty last week. Let me introduce you to him if you don't know him. He's a creepy looking guy. He is the former choir teacher at Hunters Creek Middle School. Now, you probably recognize Hunters Creek Middle School because that is the middle school that Sweet Madeline Soto attended in Orange County in Orlando. And yes, she was in the choir and he was her teacher. But besides the fact that she was a student, he was a teacher at Hunters Creek Middle School and he taught her in choir, that is where the connection begins and ends with Madeline and Bonini. I don't think there's any connection between Bonini and Stearns, or even Pedo Santa in St. Cloud. I think that this guy is in his own little pervy world, if you want to put it that way. So this is from Click Orlando, WKMG, one of my local stations here. And that, of course, like I said, that is his mugshot. He looks like a creeper. Again, I saw that mugshot initially and I thought, what a creepy looking dude. You know, what a creepy looking dude. So last Wednesday, so this is from last week, on Wednesday, the U.S. Attorney, Greg Kehoe, announced that a former Central Florida music teacher pleaded guilty to sex-related charges involving children. So he pled guilty, which was smart on his part because really there's not much else you can do. Per investigators, the teacher, Raphael Brett Bonini, and he's 25, he is young, of Orlando. He video chatted with two young kids in Maryland using the online app platform Discord. And I spoke about Discord, and we're about to talk about Roblox again here. I spoke about it last week in another video, so if you haven't checked that out, please do. It's just a few videos down from this one here. Unfortunately, a lot of kids are on both, and these monsters, these pedos, use both of these social apps, social networks, to reel in their victims. It is disgusting. It is beyond disgusting. Now, investigators stated that Bonini had offered an 8-year-old boy as well as his younger brother. So these are brothers, 8, and I don't know how old the other one is. I haven't seen the report. I could definitely look into it if you guys want me to continue to cover this, because he is going to be sentenced at the end of July. He offered them Robux. Now this is in-game currency for Roblox. And in exchange for this money for their video game, he asked them to perform sexual acts via computer. Yeah. He was trying to get them to expose themselves, do God knows what, and in exchange, he would pay them. Doesn't matter if it's US American dollars or online money. And it doesn't matter. Any of that doesn't matter. He was paying them, and he was asking these children to do something horrifically illegal and just disgusting. Disgusting. The boy's father later discovered, quote, disturbing messages, unquote, between his son and Bonini, ultimately leading detectives to find and arrest the former choir teacher. God knows what Dad found, and again, I kind of don't want to know. And I feel really sorry for these two kids and their parents. Really, I do. I hope that they are getting all the help that they need. The booking information for Mr. Choir Dude stated that, like I said, he's a choir instructor. Well, not anymore. At Hunters Creek Middle School. Like I said before, though the principal, later assured families that he would not be returning to campus. Yeah, he said he's fired. Duh. I mean, disgusting. In a criminal complaint, the detectives stated that they interviewed him, and he claimed he'd recently deleted his Discord account because he was, quote, disgusted with himself. Well, yeah, a normal person would be, but I don't think he's a normal person in the slightest. During the interview, but before discussing the details of the allegations or the genders of the victims, Brett stated that he was not even gay, which I don't even know how that matters, and that he fell into temptation that I should not have. I'm not a sick individual. I made a mistake. No. A mistake is when you drop something on the floor, you break it, you dump your drink, you drop your cell phone on the floor, something like that. This is not a mistake. This is called illegal, and it's a crime, and you are a monster. So yes, you are a sick person. Yes. And he needs to come to terms with that. He really does. Detectives explained that Brett Bonini admitted to communicating with children on Discord because they were, quote, easier to talk to, unquote, and, quote, he liked the control aspect of the chat with the young boy. Ugh. Bonini also admitted to asking the boy to perform sex acts over video chat. When did he think he was making a mistake? Which part was a mistake, Brett? I mean, I think the mistake was when you decided to log on and start speaking to minors. But after that, it's no longer a mistake. This is just illegal. Period. Again, this is not a mistake. Not even in the slightest. However, the U.S. Attorney's Office revealed that evidence suggested that Bonini had also tried to victimize at least 20 other children using the internet. Well, that's why I think that there's probably other victims. And hopefully they come forward. I hope they come forward if that's true. And if those 20 had the intelligence from being taught by their parents, their guardians, someone that to not speak to monsters like him, praise God. Seriously. We have to be thankful that those kids escaped him, and hopefully they don't get caught up in some other monster's, web at this point. Each chat with potential victims followed a similar pattern of Brett Bonini lying about his identity, making sexual advances, and attempting to have a video call with the children who identified themselves as minors. This is per a release from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Yeah, so he didn't message them and say, "Hi, my name is Brett. I'm a choir teacher at this middle school here in Orlando, Florida." No, he probably said he was another kid. God knows what. I'm sure they know exactly what he faked himself as being. And then he worked on grooming. Because that's grooming, guys. That is grooming. And plain and simple. Now, Bonini has pleaded guilty to 1 count of enticing a minor to engage in sexual activity and 1 count of producing child sex abuse material. I find that to be not enough charges. What do you guys think? I think there's gotta be more, and I can only hope that they'll find them before he goes to his sentencing, and, well, they can still add on anything. But 2 counts? That's it? No. I think there's got to be more, really. So as a result, he is facing at least 15 years in prison, which could be up to a life sentence, depending upon what the judge decides. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, he has agreed to forfeit his computer and pay restitution to the victims. Well, I don't think money is going to really erase their memories, Brett, but hopefully it'll help pay for their therapy and whatever they need to get through this. In the meantime, Bonini's sentencing hearing has been scheduled for July 30th. And we're here right now, as I record this. This is May 12th. So he's got a little while before he's sentenced. So I hope they find more charges and they just start, throwing them at him. And, yeah. It just disturbs me, though, that he probably really believes that he's not sick and that he made a mistake. That, to me, just made my mouth drop open. Oh, I'm not really sick and I just made a mistake. Yeah. No, I think you're going to have a good amount of time to think about your awful, despicable life choices while you're behind bars, Mr. Bonini. I think you're going to have a lot of time to do that. I really do. And just bringing it back a bit here to Madeline Soto, Stephen Stearns, and all that. I don't think that he has anything to do, personally, with Stephen Stearns or Mr. St. Cloud Nasty Santa there. I think that this guy's in a world all his own. But again, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. They could be connected, but there's enough pervs, especially child peds, out there that are not connected, that it's disturbing. It's just beyond disturbing. And every time law enforcement is able to arrest these monsters, I applaud them at each and every turn. But let me know what you guys think of him. And again, this mugshot is creepy as hell. Alright, guys. That's all we've got for this one. I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.